Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Driveify Experience. Today, we are in the C8 Corvette. Now, it's been about 2 or 3 years since I've driven one, so this is entirely new to me. This is an incredible spec. We will get into the overall review here, but the first thing I have to acknowledge is this interior is freaking incredible. The best one I've reviewed so far. The Supra was incredible. The R8 was great. I did not mean to rhyme that, but I'll take it. Nonetheless, though, this is about the overall experience. I could talk about the interior all day long, but so far I'm really impressed right out the gate. I always forget that the steering wheel is at like straight up square. I even got my polo on today because you gotta look fancy and old when you're driving a C8 Corvette. This is not like any other Corvette. As you all know, this is the mid-engine variation. It's been talked about for years now. It's been out since, what, 2020? So this isn't anything new to anybody. The first thing that sticks out to me every single time I'm in this car is this whole center console. It's just straight. It's different than any other car I've driven. I like it. It's grown on me. Let's just get this sucker driving. I'm still brushing the steering wheel with my leg a little bit when I'm turning. I wonder if this car is as flashy as it used to be, because I know when it first came out... Ooh, hold on. Here comes a C5 Corvette. Let's see if he acknowledges me. All right, so this car would be absolutely perfect looks-wise if it didn't have the stock wheels, but we are not going to talk about that today. At the end of the day, it's not about that. But I do wish I wish this thing was a little bit more murdered out. I love the speedometer, or the dash as a whole. Like, it's very simple and clean, but it gives you everything that you need. Okay, listen, I'm a bit of a dork for this stuff because, you know, I used to do a little bit of graphic design back in high school because I'm a pro, right? And I love the font that they chose. It's just simple and clean. We aren't necessarily in sport mode or anything like that. It's very comfortable right now. Nothing crazy. I'm trying to take a similar route to the route I took with the Supra last week. I really love that route. A little bit of back road, a little bit of highway, just a little bit of everything. I would say, though, that of the three, this is probably the most comfortable so far, which is interesting because I think this is the same year, or at least, at the very least, the same generation as the Supra. I'm trying to listen for rattles because anytime there's a new generation or a new car, it's always a little imperfect. And so far, I think it's just the GoPros making the rattling. So far, it's a great cruiser. The view is fantastic up front here. Because there isn't a massive engine up front, I can just look down and see where the road's at. And I bet you that this thing is a lot more nimble than some of the other Corvettes. I'll have to play around with some of the modes here in a moment and see how I feel about it. I love this dash here. It has everything I need from it. One thing you will notice immediately is that this car is very quiet. I am going to take back some of the rude comments I've made about the C8 over the years. I don't know, I'll have to double check which trim this is. I doubt this is the base trim, but this interior is phenomenal. One thing that I did hate, though, the first time that I was in this car, again, 3 years ago, is the passenger side. You feel a little bit claustrophobic, and now that's not necessarily everyone. Because you have this massive control center here, it kind of gets in the way between you and your passenger. So the passenger kind of feels secluded to themselves. So it's a little bit of a bummer because you're kind of on this side and it just feels tight. And even a bigger guy like me definitely feels tight. But even if you're a smaller person, it's just going to feel like you are on your own over there. From an experience standpoint, I can see why this might be better than the Supra and why they do charge respectfully more. Right over to train tracks, nothing crazy. So for reference, this car I believe is going either for $325 or $350 a day currently. Interior wise, I love it. Performance wise, we'll get to that in a moment, and sound wise, again, a really big, massive factor to me is the sound. Sound is very important to me when it comes to renting a sports car because I want to have a blast. I want people to hear me before they see me. All right, let's figure out these buttons. Oh my goodness, whoever was in here before had their air conditioning set to 76 degrees. What lizard was driving this car? Air conditioned seat. Ooh. Oh. All right, back to looking for sport mode. Oh, hold on, what's this? I haven't even played around with this other dash yet. So this car's got all the fun of Apple CarPlay, connect to your phone, all that fun stuff. I should actually test out the sound system. Now, granted, I won't be allowed to share the results because, well, YouTube will probably take this down because they want to pay their artists and whatever. Performance data recorder. Different places have different laws, so please only use PDR where it's legal to do so. Please refer to your owner's manual for more information. Video over lap timing. Let's see, recordings. Oh, no SD card available. I knew I should have brought one. Oh, that's really cool. So you can record your overall experience here. I really wish I had a second SD card. That's really cool. This car isn't very low. The Supra was incredibly low, but this one, no scrapes. It's at a decent ride height. Nothing too crazy. Oh, does it have a front end lift? That was monster trucking for it. This car turned into a Jeep for a second. That's really cool. I love the feel. Like even the feel of the blinker or the blinker column or whatever. It feels good. That was fun. Very loud. I like it. Big old V8. Yeah, I got that dude's attention into Hyundai. He's over there thinking, what life choices did I make to be stuck in a frickin' Hyundai while that 23-year-old is over there in a Driveify C8? And honestly, the only life choices that differ between me and him is that he hasn't rented this yet. Oh, mode, here it is. Track mode. All right, that is a lot more responsive in sport mode. I will give it that. The sound is incredible. It's just like a quieter version of the R8. God, I love that sound. It has that American thump to it. And it's so much faster now because the transmissions are lightning fast in these. You know what's sad? Is that most of these probably don't even get driven like this. Even like this. And I'm relatively calm right now. But most of these cars will never, ever get driven the way they deserve to be driven. And that's a shame. Yield? I will not! Oh man, this handles. Oh, this is tight. Oh, this car is deceivingly quick. The Supra and the R8, you know exactly how fast you're going. And perhaps the Supra was the heads-up display that helped with that, but this car is deceivingly quick. You look up, and the thing is because it's not insanely loud, at least at the moment, you don't realize how fast you are going until it's too late. Engine sound has been turned up to 10. That is a lot better. Much more responsive. The sound is incredible. At high RPMs, you hear it perfectly. Low RPMs, you don't have that ooga, 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 or whatever that you expect from a V8. Because it is so well padded. You can't hear the outside at all. This guy with the big tires over here, I can't hear his stupid truck. Now, am I scared to drive this car? Yes, but not for the reasons you might be thinking, because usually my biggest concern is taking off the bumper, it being too low, and having to pay for that damage. But in this car, I'm scared of getting a ticket. This is ridiculously quick. You don't even, because the car isn't obnoxiously loud, you don't realize that you are doing 103 or 85 or even 5 over. Because it loves to stay quiet. This is a proper sports car. Listen, not to knock the Supra, it is fast as hell. And probably faster than this by some metric, but this thing is lightning in a bottle. All right, I'll give these guys a look. They love that. They freaking love that. Again, and you got to go to areas like this where, you know, some people will never be around a car like this, or they'll never own one, they'll never drive one. And that's why I love the Driveify experience, because this could be a birthday gift to someone, especially, you know, it just depends, man. You just gotta let people enjoy it. Oh, that's the other thing. It revved up really quick there. That is one test that I think I should do in every car, because some cars, when you put them in park and you just blip them, nothing. But other cars, like this one, you blip it, it's at 7,000 just for a second, because that's an aspect that people forget about. There is a little bit of showmanship. There's a little bit of art that goes into having a car just immediately flex its muscle. Listen, I ain't the biggest dude y'all have seen, but what's cooler, going like this, or, for example, very poor example, but you don't want the slow flex. You want somebody that's like, yeah, I got the muscle. I love this car. This I would have a lot of fun in. And I would love to compare this to their other C8 Corvette, because they do have two in the fleet. This is like the base model C8. Although I shouldn't say base model, it does seem to have some nice trim options here. So maybe like, I don't know, lower entry C8, standard C8, whatever. But they also have a C8R, and that's kind of like the race version of this. And I would love to see how that compares. Right now, again, we're in track mode. Cruising, chilling, doing everything fine. Blip. That was my turn. Why did I miss my turn? You may be wondering. It is because this car is so fun, you get distracted about everything else. This car is so much more fun than I remember. This car does miss some elements of showmanship though. For example, its downshifts are not very aggressive. When you're accelerating, all hell breaks loose. Oh, and by the way, it's a very easy car to control, because it has enough horsepower to be fun, and arguably to get you in trouble, because that top end is just ridiculous. But it is low enough horsepower for an average Joe like me. I should say average. But for somebody who hasn't driven a sports car, they could still get on it and not worry about spinning out. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the downshifts. The downshifts feel like you're kind of like letting, it's like a slow air leak. You know, just not wham. The R8, as slow as that transmission was, it made it known that it was slowing down. The Supra, I mean, it was, granted, that was a tuned car, but it was ridiculous nonetheless. Chevy did very well for an interior in here. Again, I can't speak to the other trims, but this is very well done. So crazy. It is insanely quiet. Right up until the moment you touch the throttle. I didn't even have to use the front end lift. Parking is fantastic. It's well thought out. I don't think I was giving this car nearly enough credit before. I just realized that this entire trip I didn't have the AC blasting, I just had air blasting. So, there's an education. Make sure you hit the AC button. Overall, I think this car is worth it by far. This is really way more fun than I thought. These little AC vents are actually pretty tiny, but again, we'll see how well they do some cooling, because I'm an idiot and I forgot to hit AC. But nonetheless, I'm gonna basically wrap up here for today. Overall, I love this car. I love the interior way more than the Supra. I'm sure many of you weren't expecting me to say that, just knowing how big of a fan I am of Supras, but I freaking love it. Looks wise, again, it feels just a little bit more exciting. Exterior wise, sure, but I don't think I really care about that, because if I'm renting a car for a day, I think this gets the point across very well. I think it makes sense for what this car is going for a full day. You can have a lot of fun in an entire day with this car, I think. Anyways, guys, that is pretty much it for the Supra review here. Please feel free to shoot me some questions, or the Driveify team. If you want to rent this car, The link is right here or down in the description below. Other than that, though, please be sure to check out the Minnoxide newsletter, the podcast, and whatever else silly stuff I put out there. Because at the end of the day, I have so much fun driving these cars, and you guys enable me to do stuff like this because Minnoxide has gotten so big over the last 5 years, and I'm not talking in a third person because Minnoxide, the brand, and me are two different things, I'd like to think. But nonetheless, go rent from Driveify. Check out everything else that they have in the fleet. If you want to see some of the other cars that I have reviewed and shared the experience with, check that out as well in the description below. But other than that, guys, see you next time.